Hi everybody, this is Stephanie here. Today we are going to be taking a Christmas set, a kit from Hero Arts, and we are going to be turning it into a Halloween card. And I love this Halloween card, I love how it turned out. And this glowing effect is actually really simple to achieve. I came across this technique and I thought it would be great for this card. The set from Hero Arts with these trees that have like kind of the dead branches on them just said Halloween to me, even though it's supposed to be a Christmas card. So if you want to learn how to get this glowing effect, stay tuned. I promise it's really easy, no special skills involved. I am not a great watercolorist or artist or anything of that sort, but you too can get this glowing effect and just follow along and I will show you how. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm going to be crafting with the new Hero Arts kit. This is their kit of the month. And I used to be a regular subscriber to the kit of the month, but I stopped because, you know, there were so many other kits that I also enjoyed. And so I like being able to kind of pick and choose between them now. But I loved this one, and this I just thought was such a great scene that was created with these dies. And this comes with all of these dies, including ones that say Happy Christmas, Merry Winter. They can be split up to make different sayings. And then these three big dies that make a scene. I'm also probably going to be using the Simon Hurley stamp set. This one is like a fall sampler, I believe. And this is a really nice set also. So these have nice kind of folk pumpkin images and the bats. And so for our Halloween card, I'm going to be using this bat. So stay tuned and let's see what we'll make. I'm starting off by die cutting these images just out of plain heavy-duty cardstock, and then I'm going to run them through my die cutting machine, and then we will get started. Forming a tree-ectomy on these images because that felt like more Christmas, and I really wanted the dead branches of the trees to stand out. So I'm cutting those out, and I will save those for a card for later. Those types of images can always be useful. You can kind of see how they're going to stack together there, and they just make a lovely scene. The watercolor set I'm using is linked down in the description below, and you don't have to use watercolor. You could definitely use, Copics or, any other coloring medium that you want, colored pencils or anything like that, and you'd get the same effect. But I really like watercolors for the speed of use, the way they blend together nicely, and this particular set that I got has a lot of really nice colors that I don't have to mix too much, and they, are really in a nice little portable case. So I highly recommend that set. So again, that's linked down below. Now I'm just doing a wash of yellow over almost the entire image there, the trees and the ground. And this will become our glow later on. And you just, this is not particularly tidy. Just go over the entire thing with the yellow. And it doesn't really matter because it's going to be covered up when you do the shadows. So go ahead, just color it all. You do want to kind of make sure that whichever direction the light is going to be coming from, that's where you're going to want most of the glow. So just kind of keep that in mind. And you saw that I kind of painted the moon up above on a plain piece of cardstock there, and that's going to go behind the three other die cuts. Once all the yellow is down where I want it to be, I'm then just going around with kind of an orangey color around the areas where the light will be kind of coming from. Now you do want to make sure that you leave some of that yellow kind of shining through. You don't want to cover the yellow completely. So you can see as I'm going around the stars there, I'm leaving a little halo of the yellow and then just adding the orange. And when I go on to do the trees, I'm adding the orange towards the far sides of the trees. You can see there. And the reason for that is because that's where the shadows are going to be. So if the moon is going to be right in the center of my image, the sides of the trees that are closest to the moon should be having the most light. And so you want to work on the shadows. And so I'm layering the orange pretty heavily on the trees there. And that doesn't matter because, again, it's going to be covered up by more shadows. We're just going to keep layering paint. And so go ahead with a heavy hand if you want to. And it doesn't, this is not precise. I'm just going over the entire thing. So you saw where, for example, where all the white is on the card that I just, the card front that I just did there, because that area is going to be darker. So the areas where it's going to be darker, like you can just go ahead and put the orange there. Like I didn't put any yellow in that spot because I knew that the light wouldn't be reaching that spot. So you can see there I'm going along the edges, and you just kind of want to take a look at the branches and see where would the shadow be falling here. So those branches that are kind of sticking out, some parts of them are going to be in light and some of them are going to be in shadow. Now this orange might appear to you pretty close to the yellow, and that's because it is. And you're going to go with kind of light gradations of color here. The lighter it is, the lighter the kind of the difference between the glowing effect, the yellow, and then the shadows, the more subtle the change is going to be when you are finished. Now I'm done with the orange, and I'm going in with what looks like a brown, but it's actually not. It's actually a purple, and the purple and the yellow combined together do make a brownish color. And so you're just layering that on top, kind of creating a glazing effect. And there maybe you can kind of see that it's a little more purplish. And I'm again going around those stars, going around all the areas that I want it to glow. And so I'm leaving the yellow space that I already created, that I had already left, and then I'm leaving some of the orange visible. So what you're kind of creating is just this gradation of color with the yellow and orange kind of peeking out underneath. Now that I've covered those 3 panels in the lighter purple, I'm now going in with an even darker purple and putting in where those darker shadows would be. So again, making sure to leave some of the yellow that we put in, some of the orange that we put in, and then some of the lighter yellow that we put in, leaving all of that visible even as you put the darker colors over it where the shadows would be. And there is the entirety of our panels done. I told you it was going to be super easy. Now we are working on the very back panel, which is going to be the moon. I decided to use some ink blending on this instead of the watercolor because I wanted it to be blended out a little bit more evenly than you get with the watercolor. Like I wanted the colors that you couldn't really see where the beginning and the end of the colors is. So I went ahead and I die cut a circle there, and I'm going to use both the positive and negative of that die cut. I'm using the negative of that die cut, and I'm going to go ahead and put some of the Simon Hurley solar paste and lunar paste. I'm actually going to be mixing the two together. By mixing the two together, I'm able to create an effect of kind of shadows and light, which kind of reflects the craters and stuff on the moon. I then used a heat gun to set it, and the heat gun actually, because I kept it on there longer, started to create little bubbles and ripples, which gave a nice kind of 3D texture to it. Other part of the mask that I had cut out, this time placing that on the moon itself. And I'm going to go ahead and use Distress Oxides and other inks to create the shadowed effect. So similar to the watercolors, I'm starting with the lightest around the moon, and then I'm going to slowly use other colors, ending with the purple to kind of create the shadowed effect. I then also added a little bit of brown towards the edges of the card to kind of give it that night sky and to help it blend in with the front of the card that I'm going to be placing on top of this. I then brushed the brush that had the brown on it. I didn't add more ink to it, but I kind of brushed that brown all over the card face to kind of give it a patina and kind of give it that spooky vibe. And what is a spooky Halloween night without some flying bats? So I'm adding some bats in the distance here. I'll add some more later on because these actually do get a little bit covered by the card base. But then I will also add the larger bat that comes with the Simon Hurley kit. So I will be adding that theme as well. Now here I'm going ahead and using some of the just plain branches from the set from Hero Arts that was also part of the release for the latest kit. I'm not being super precise here. You know, I'm just trying to get the effect of kind of a larger woods in the background, spooky, creepy woods, and kind of add to that gloomy effect. I'm putting the front panels on with some foam tape, and you do have to remember the order in which you put the foam panels. So you want the image that looks like it's the farthest away. And I don't know if you can see there, I did cut out what was supposed to be the moon on the die, kind of up there in the right hand corner. And I cut that out because obviously the moon is what I placed in the center of the card, so I didn't want that moon image there. But that's totally fine because we are going to cover that up with the bat stamp. I personally always like to use liquid adhesive for whenever I'm layering things, just because I like to have that wiggle room, 5-10 seconds, that I can kind of make sure that that is on correctly. That is the art glitter glue that I am using, which is my favorite glitter glue. It dries clear and it's very strong. And you can already see just with that addition of that front plate how spooky it's already looking. So all of these images, they look great layered together, but they can also be used individually. And so like that would allow you more space on the bottom, for example, if you want to add another type of scene, you could do that. I'm using Simon Hurley's fall sampler set to do the bat, and I'm putting a little glow around the bat, just using some of that distress ink, just putting it around it so that it's not just pure white. You know, when you cut out something with a die cut, it does end up having that little halo around it. So I wanted to match more clearly with the background than to just have that stark white background. And I'm gluing it to that first panel and covering up that spot where the moon would have been. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut out of a foam panel an image that matches exactly the front of the card plate that I'm going to be doing. And this way, when I glue them together, they match exactly. And I did it in black so that even if a little bit peeks through, it's not a big deal. It just looks like a shadow on the card. I'm cutting a jack-o'-lantern out of that same Simon Hurley set. In hindsight, I probably would have used white cardstock and painted it. I think that might have given a little bit more of a glowy effect rather than trying to paint the orange cardstock, but it turned out fine. And I put some glitter cardstock in yellow behind the eyes so that it looks like it's glowing as well. And there you go. Putting all of those pieces together and then just trying to figure out where I want that jack-o'-lantern to go. I thought about putting him in the center, but then I thought, you know what, I like the way that the moon glow kind of shines on the ground there, and I didn't want the jack-o'-lantern to cover it up, so I put him off to the side. Put this all together on a black card base, and then for the interior I'm creating a panel that says "You're Fang-tastic" with another little bat there. Again with the Simon Hurley set, that sentiment came out of that set. I then wanted to put a sentiment on the front as well. I kind of debated about this, kind of leaving it blank, but I thought it needed a little something on the front. So I chose "Hey Pumpkin." I could have put "Happy Halloween" on there, but I thought "Hey Pumpkin" makes it a little bit more all-purpose than just sending it as a Halloween card. I can send it as a thank you card. So there is my completed card. I'm really pleased with the way this card turned out. I think it's one of the favorite cards that I've ever made, actually. And I really liked this technique to create that glow. And I'm glad that I was able to use the Hero Art set in an unconventional way, not just creating a winter scene, but being able to create this spooky fall scene too. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share. I also want to remind you that I am having a giveaway for an advent calendar, Spellbinders advent calendar. I'm giving away some stamps and dies, and I'm giving away glue press. So click on the video here, linked here, and you can go to that video, find out how to enter. That contest is going until November 15th, 2023, or until I hit 1,000 subscribers, whichever comes first. So be sure to go ahead and enter. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe to find out when I drop my next video. Hope you have a great day.